it going, man?
I'm good. How about you, man?
Pretty good. Pretty
We're
good.
gonna have beer today.
Yep. Got us some 60-minute dogfish head.
Sweet.
See how this goes. Cause I know you're not as much of a IPA guy as much, right? But
I drink IPA if I'm not like cheers, bro.
Cheers. There we go.
If I'm not like if I'm just gonna drink it, it'll be IPA.
Oop, that was an amateur move. It's been a while. It's all good.
Definitely hit the spot though.
Yeah, weather's getting warmer. Although this week up here in Jersey, it's been kind of up and down.
Yeah.
It's like 2 days ago it was in the 80s, now it's in the 40s.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
It's weird. So
That's how people get sick.
you tell the folks about that Judo thing we went to last Saturday.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. It was a great event.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
it was sponsored by the New York Athletic Club. Got to sit pretty close to the action. I mean, it was a nice club. They had different teams here. They had Team USA. They had Team Canada.
Israel
was there. I think Israel ended
Germany.
up winning the whole thing.
Yeah, they win.
Congrats to them.
Yeah.
And Germany was there. One of the Eastern European countries. Now I'm blanking on it.
Germany. I think it was just
Poland.
Poland.
That's
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
was. Yeah. And who else? Canada was there. I already said Canada. Great Britain.
England.
The UK. Yeah, the UK was there. So really good matches, man. Team USA came this close to pulling it out against Canada.
Yeah, but hey, not to be biased, but I think Team USA was more exciting to watch, though.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. Now we were invested because my teacher's oldest son is in there. So congrats to Nikki on his performance. It's great stuff. Got him with with an inside trip.
Right,
The inside trip. There's I can't recall the Japanese term for it at the moment.
I don't necessarily know the judo rules. What's the rules? Because it's not like wrestling.
Yeah.
Right?
So
is it similar to wrestling in a way?
So I was actually listening to a podcast by Shintaro Higashi a little bit earlier about some of the rule changes. So
it's that same guy that he was there.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's at most of those major events. He's one of the main. I think he's one of the established names over in like the New York, New Jersey area.
Right.
And he was talking about how back in 2013 they banned leg grabs. So back in the day, not even back in the day, like I think it was before 2008. They had leg grabs, and they had all the throws that you still see with the upper body.
Right.
And that's why, like, if you look at the Olympics, 2008, and I guess 2012 too, you'll see a lot of leg grabs. Like you'll see guys just like double legging people and taking them down to the mat that way.
Right.
But now it's all upper body throws. You're not allowed to grab the leg if you're standing on your feet.
Why is that? Because it's easy. Is it like an easy thing to use in a match?
Some people believe that it was as the game was evolving and as judo became a more international tournament, other wrestling other countries and other people from other people outside of Japan started borrowing things from different arts in order to get an advantage. So the game started changing, and I don't know the exact reason why the rules changed, but I've heard some folks say that it was to distinguish themselves from wrestling and make it more exciting for the Olympics. To encourage big throws as opposed to leg grabbing whenever there's a bad position.
Right.
But that's just what I've heard some folks say. I'm not an expert in the history of judo rules.
To be honest, my thing is like, and don't hate me on it, but I kind of like throws better than anything else.
Oh, I love it.
Like,
yeah,
it's just more exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's more exciting, and me personally, I just like learning how to do it.
Yeah.
I just love stand up wrestling and throwing. That's why I ended up getting into judo now, and before Shrai and got to do some sambo as well. So it's all fun.
Oh, so you did sambo as well? Do you see the difference?
Sambo still has leg grabs.
Okay.
So my friend Vlad Kulikov, he coached me in sambo when he was still here. He's over in Texas now. So if you guys are in the Texas area, go check out Vlad Kulikov, Sambo Fusion. He's excellent coach, excellent practitioner, fun guy to be around.
Oh, I think you mentioned on the last episode that he was in John Wick, right?
Yeah, he's in John Wick. He's a Renaissance man. Vlad, you're a Renaissance man, handsome. So it's so Sambo, I believe they borrowed a lot from old school judo.
Right.
And they have the grappling version, which is just they call it sambo, and then there's combat sambo,
Right,
which
right.
looks more like MMA.
I heard they
They can
mixed
actually
the two.
they can
Yeah.
headbutt too.
Oh wow.
In combat sambo, they can headbutt.
I heard it's the mix of the two. Like they're Russian folk wrestling mixed with Japanese judo.
Probably.
like that,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure there's some influences there. It's like the art itself is like 83 years old or something like
Mhm.
that, or 85 years old.
Right.
And it was a combination of I think 2 or 3 different arts at the
Wow.
time, and they put it through their sporting system. But that's my very rough understanding of it. And the rules, they dress a little differently. They had the sambo mat shoes.
Right.
In judo, you go barefoot. The jackets are a little different,
Right.
and instead of the pants, they just have the tight shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because excuse me, when you're doing the judo ground fighting, they call that newaza. You are allowed to grab the legs. You're allowed to grab the pants.
Okay.
So in sambo, you're not allowed. Well, there's no pants to grab. It's just the almost. It looks like biker shorts, but it's their own version.
Right.
And there's some other things too, like certain chokes are not allowed, but that part I'm not quite clear on.
Interesting. I mean, judo. I would like to say, from what I've did research on, they're like the pioneers to a lot of different martial arts. For example, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, the founder came to Brazil and he was a judoka, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it was the founder himself or if it was one of his main students. I know for sure one of his main students did it. It was like Maeda or something Maeda. And he taught Carlos Gracie Sr.
Right.
And then from there, it trickled over to the rest of the Gracie family
Right.
because Carlos was the head of that whole, era.
Right. Wow.
But yeah, it is pretty amazing what Kano and his system was able to do.
Right.
The way they were able to spread it to where now, when I first started, my coach at the time was telling me that judo is actually the second most practiced sport in the world.
Right.
As far as participants. So number one is soccer. So, when you're
right.
only behind soccer, that's something, and it's very practiced outside the US.
Damn. So it's still in the Olympics, right? It's not like because some sports do take off like because now I mean speaking off topic now breakdancing is part of the Olympics.
Yeah,
now.
breakdance is part of the Olympics.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, I guess they're always bringing in new things.
Yeah.
I mean, recently they brought in like inline skating or some sort of extreme sport, and they brought in karate. They brought in more recently as well.
Right.
And I'm very curious to see what they would do with breaking.
Right. Didn't you, Al? Didn't you mention that wrestling is being taken off?
Yeah. Originally it was going to be taken out on 2020, but because of the pandemic, they extended it to 2024.
Oh, wow.
So this is the last go.
So technically, it's going to be the last go, and I think it's karate. That's no, I'm sorry. It's breakdancing that's replacing it.
Oh man.
Damn.
And from what I heard, unfortunately, not a lot of
man.
people like in the past few
That's
years.
too bad.
Yeah,
that's
like,
one of the
saw
original Greek Olympic sports, man.
Yeah. Is it because it's too many like striking like arts? That's why, and they trying to replace it with something really different.
Well, the last article I read is that they haven't had any like more viewers watching the events.
Wow.
That's why. Like people,
I'm surprised,
people
actually.
watch like pole dance. I'm sorry. What is that? Swimming event. I forgot.
What kind of
what-
Olympics are you watching? People watch pole dancing.
sorry. The
I say,
pole dancing. Sorry.
They are serious athletes, though.
yeah.
What are the swimmers? They posing like they do like those type
Yeah,
of performances.
the,
It's called. Isn't it like Nsync swimming?
Synchronized swimming.
Synchronized
Synchronized
swimming.
swimming. I don't know what I was thinking.
Nsync
I don't know what I was
synchronized
thinking.
swimming, pole dancing,
Yeah,
tomato.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, apparently the last Olympics, people saw that one more than wrestling. So that's why that's why they said 2020 is supposed to be the last year.
Oh wow,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's too bad because
And
it's
then-
like when you think of the Olympics, you think of stuff like boxing, wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
How well you can
then-
fight, how fast can you run.
Right.
Yeah, but from what I heard, yeah, like they said they're gonna extend it to 2024 to be the last year. But then there's still like a lot of wrestling community members are still like trying to fight for it to stay inside. But lately, from what I heard, 2024 is the last year.
Oh,
Man, that's too bad.
I mean,
That's
I
crazy.
mean, honestly, I watch it. I
Yeah.
mainly just watch the heavyweights one because that's where I wrestled back in high school.
Yeah.
But it's still sad to see because I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I still watch like YouTube videos, and whenever
Wow.
whenever it's on TV, I
Yeah.
I watch
Yeah.
it for a bit. But it's sad to hear. But
wow. Speaking of high school wrestling,
Mm.
did you see that Justin Gaethje guy versus
Oh yeah,
Hallway?
yeah. He was a collegiate wrestler too. I think.
Yeah. It's crazy. That match is crazy, man.
So I stayed up to watch that,
Uh-huh.
and the wife was sleeping, so I had to be quiet.
Right.
So when he so I turned the sound all the way down, so I couldn't really hear the announcers. I couldn't. I saw the time was ticking down,
Right.
and when he knocked him out, I was like, wait. My first thought was, wait. Was that before the buzzer or after? So for a
Yeah,
second I didn't
yeah.
even get to react, but then I was just like, whoa, man.
It's crazy how, Max likes to risk it like that. But then, I think he just knows. He knows he's going to knock this guy out. But you know what the funny thing is that Justin, even though he comes from a wrestling background, he loves to strike. He loves to
Yeah.
stand.
He doesn't really wrestle in any of his matches.
Yeah,
from
he
what I remember,
doesn't.
unless he just absolutely has to.
I mean, he said, he was transitioning from wrestling to MMA. So he
Mhm.
wanted to, he knows that's where the money comes from. He even said it himself, if he stands up and fight,
Yeah.
he knows that he'll get bigger bonuses, if he wins.
He seems to like it too.
Yeah,
Like he just
yeah.
seems to like getting bloodied up and exchanging. So
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if he even doesn't seem to mind getting knocked out that much because he's willing
Yeah,
to. He's just willing
yeah.
to take the risk. It's either
I-
him or the other guy.
I mean, it's a crazy fight. And, I respect both sides,
I did not think Holloway was going to perform that well.
Right.
Because I always did think he had very good boxing, but I always kind of wonder, hey, is this the time where there's too many wars that
Right.
caught up to him now? Especially against a bigger, more powerful guy like
Right.
Gaethje, but he was just so much quicker than him.
What do you think of his spinning back kicks?
I liked him.
Yeah.
I liked him.
It's pretty smooth, man.
Yeah. It was quick too. It was like
Yeah.
he uses it. I think the way it's meant to be used.
Right.
Whenever Gaethje would rush in, he would just turn and quick.
Right.
It wasn't even like a full 360 spin. It was just like it was really just kind of like a 180 spin.
Right.
So
So now that he won, who's he calling out now?
he called out Ilia Topuria. But
I don't know much about him though.
He's a good boxer too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He recently just knocked off Alexander Volkanovski, who beat Max twice.
Oh wow.
3 times I want to say.
Wow.
Excuse me. And so, I mean, you could say maybe Volkanovski was kind of towards the end
Right.
because he had already got knocked out once before that, and he's like 36 or 37 now. But
Wow.
Topuria's very young. He's like, well, not very young. He's like in his late 20s, but he's very dangerous. He's very confident, and I feel like he's hitting his prime. So Max
Right.
that might be a pretty tough one for Max, but I have to take a look at that more.
Yeah, I have to check that out.
Yeah.
I have to do probably maybe a research on the other guy. I want to see because I don't know anything about him.
He's a Georgian who lives in Spain.
Okay.
Yeah, that's as far as I know. But
okay.
I've watched a little bit of him. I like what I see.
What's his background? Like what kind of fighting?
I don't even know. I know he boxes a lot, but if he's Georgian, I want to assume he's got some sort of wrestling and judo,
Right.
but
Okay.
I don't know for certain.
He does. I don't know, man. I can't really. I would figure some judoka or like wrestlers they have a certain build to their.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But he
Yeah.
looks like more like a striker.
He approaches it like a striker, from what I can
Right.
tell. Yeah, he's got good power, good speed. He's got good straight punches, and his movement, his approach, you could tell is more of a stand up striking guy. But it's just cool to see how the game's changed.
Right. What do you think? The evolution of UFC now.
I don't know, cause like this was UFC 300, so they did
Yeah.
like all the old they did like a little bit of a highlight reel of all the old UFCs up until the present day, right?
Right.
And they actually had Mark Coleman there because
Oh yeah,
Mark,
man. Like
yeah.
he's ill right now or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
well, he had to rescue his parents from a burning building.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so he
Wow.
was in the hospital for a while. They weren't sure what was going to happen with him.
Oh, is that why he wasn't sick? He was just because I heard
He
about
was.
it, but I didn't know.
I don't know
What,
if he had health problems before that, but that was the main reason he was hospitalized
oh
recently.
wow, wow.
Yeah, his
damn.
dog didn't make it. He tried to save his dog also, but he saved his parents. So it was crazy. He ran in there and apparently got him out himself.
Wow, wow.
So yeah, no, it's
No, glad he's
hero.
he's good, man. He's okay.
Yeah, he's pushing 60 now. He's like in his
Yeah.
late 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like fought in early UFC, fought in Pride back in the Fedor Prime days.
Yeah, I have him on like TikTok. And sometimes I watch his videos, right? And then you could tell like he's there, like all those like you know how like, when you train when you were younger, all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff is coming back to you.
Oh,
like
yeah.
back pains,
Well, especially back then, the training was just different. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
it was more like like the Lions Den styles, like spar hard,
right.
crush it every day. Then definitely good for building that mentality.
Right.
But yeah, unfortunately, when you get to your 50s, it catches up.
Right. He comes
Yeah.
from a wrestling background, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. Like those are like the old wrestlers, like him, Ken Shamrock,
Yeah.
Dan Severn, guys like that.
Right.
Did you watch early UFC back then when it was coming out?
Yeah, I did. It was, to be honest, it was kind of like it was pretty wild. They had like the Tank Abbott.
Yeah,
And,
Tank Abbott. I forgot about that guy.
There was
Can't believe I
this,
forgot about him.
there was this one Hawaiian guy, and he was like very religious.
The sumo guy,
Yeah,
the huge guy.
yeah. He's Hawaiian. He's like, he has like those tribal tattoos, and he has like
Oh,
a
no.
Bible,
That I'm not sure then.
a scripture on his back. But he was in the early days too. He was kind of famous at that time. And then he started doing movies with like Ernie Reyes Jr. You remember that one movie with Ernie Reyes Jr.? And what he did with his dad and this other Filipino Kali guy that was in it, that played as one of the Ninja Turtles. Remember that big dude? That's him.
Really, that was him. I was trying to remember the name of the movie, but I forgot.
Yeah.
But is that really him?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh,
They
wow.
even had this Korean guy, but now he's in prison for life. Back in the UFC days,
Oh,
where he
damn.
played he was in Austin Powers, where he plays the through the hat.
That's him.
Yeah, he was in the early stages of UFC.
Oh,
He was,
okay.
if you look it up, if you YouTube and look it up, he was he's always getting his nuts hit. Like some guy was just, because there was no rules
Oh, for
back then.
practicing?
No,
Or-
during a match, during a UFC
yeah,
match,
yeah,
and the guy just
'Cause I-
keep like punching him in the nuts, and he's just taking it.
yeah. It's just wild, man. Like back then was like no weight division.
Yeah,
no weight,
yeah, it
no
was
time
crazy.
limit.
Yeah, I remember when they first came out back then, people thought it was nuts. It was banned in certain states.
Yeah, yeah.
They were saying like, Ultimate Fighting Championship, is where all the martial arts come and test out their style and
Mhm.
blah blah blah. And it was just banned. It was just banned all over the place. I couldn't even watch it at that time. This is when I was like, I think I was like 12 or 13 years old when I saw the first UFC fight.
Did you guys have many thoughts about it at the time? Was it more of like a freak show? In your
Because
opinions?
at that time, I first started in Kun Tame,
Right.
which is Kembo and kickboxing, right?
Right.
And and I had all these friends that's they'd done karate, taekwondo. They said and some of them believe that's that stuff is bullshit, right? But
Yeah.
then when you watch, it's kind of like, why does it look like that? Like why is it so messy, so weird?
Yeah.
And the first thing my brother said to me, he said, "Cause that's real fighting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's gonna look like."
Yeah, especially back then, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and that just kind of made me think like, wow, this is how real fighting is gonna be like. Like it's just weird, right? But then, as you get into it, people are saying like, yeah, real fighting is very dirty. It's not clean like movies, and that's when it struck me like, wow, this is crazy. It's not like the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it kind of like opened up a lot of people's eyes because of UFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seeing that in front of everyone, right?
Yeah,
And because
yeah.
I guess the closest thing that was around to back then was like full contact kickboxing or full contact boxing, right? Even then, it was pretty clean compared to what they were seeing.
Right.
Because it was just, the fact that you could have that 500-pound sumo wrestler with Hoist Gracie, who was like maybe 170 at the time or something.
Yeah, because even with those like Muay Thai matches or American kickboxing matches, they still had rules. They still separate them if anything happens. But this is like, the guy goes in the ground. What are you gonna do? The guy stands up and clinch. So it looks crazy to the point where it's kind of like, to some people, it's like, wow, it's boring. What is this? Like it just looks like they're just humping each other. Or some shit,
Well, that was how a lot of boxers made fun of it at the time.
Yeah.
But it's I feel like that's just something that we need to appreciate as a part of history, because something like that early UFC, that's not coming back. We're not gonna be able to do that again.
Yeah.
Not without 1.5 million lawsuits.
Wow, this is crazy. Yeah.
And now it's like a league of its own.
Yeah.
So it's but yeah, no, I enjoyed it a lot. Did you get to watch some of the rest of them?
Some of the what?
Some of the other matches.
The Chong Wai Lee versus her teammate or whatever.
Yeah, or one of her friends or countrymen.
I mean, it was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the girl she choked her out. Wally choked her out, man.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing. It's from the highlights I saw too. Yeah.
And then she just like passes out during when the time went off, and then she was still good the next couple of rounds, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, and then you hear Joe Rogan and another guy was like, because I think they use smelling salts to wake her up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they're supposed to do that. I think there's a controversy that says you cannot wake somebody up with smelling salts during a match.
Right.
So I don't know if that's considered cheating. I don't know, but I guess they did it anyway. So.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
You hear Joe Rogan like, can he do this? Is this legal?
Oh, okay.
Oh
man.
So I don't know, but it's just nuts. All the fights just nuts, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get to watch the last fights though.
Yeah. It's I saw some of the clips of it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
The Pereira fight
Uh-huh.
and the Weili Yan fight. But Pereira's just ridiculously powerful.
Right.
And he's got my favorite walkout.
Right.
The way he's got that tribal music going, the way he pretends to shoot that arrow.
Yeah, he's proud. He's proud of his people.
Yeah. But it's cool. It's cool to see how it's gone from there's those early UFCs to nowadays, because you're talking about you talk about 30 years. That's that's a generation.
Right.
And all the artists that have been kind of come into the UFC nowadays.
You remember a guy named a Japanese fighter that was in Pride called Genki Sudo?
Oh yeah.
I love his entrance.
He was one of my favorites.
He's just coming out like this.
He's coming out with the robot. He's coming out with the that KFC costume.
Yeah. That was that was entertainment, man.
It's funny when he would actually do it in the match. Like he'd start doing this and just turn his back to the opponent.
Yeah, he's very unique.
Yeah, the opponent's just kind of looking at him like. But no, everything flowed with that guy.
Yeah.
Everything flowed with that guy. He was just really talented, man. Like the way he was able to kind of do the kicking and they just like flow right into takedowns and he did the same thing, the butterbean.
Yeah, the butterbean. I mean, he retired perfect. I actually, his career was just good, and then I think after that was just movies and hosting.
Yeah, it's going into acting now. Yeah. I'm sure he's enjoying his life and pretty young, so there's not too much damage, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah, those Pride days, that was something else. Back in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So, but yeah, just watching guys like Genki Sudo, because back then I was in college, Back then I was just I was still doing martial arts. I'd only started when I was, 5 or 6 years before that.
Right.
So I knew I probably didn't want to do MMA, but I did want to do different aspects of martial arts that are related to MMA. So yeah, that was around the time I got into boxing, And,
but you watched it though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a lot of the old Pride fights. Got to
Right.
see Fedor, Crow Cop, those guys.
Yeah. I
Mark
remember
Hunt.
those.
Mark Hunt with his iron chin. So yeah, did you watch like Pancrase and
Yeah.
Pride and all that stuff?
Yeah. I watched
Yeah.
all that. Yeah. How I got into like it was mostly like K1. Like K1, with like Bokal.
Yeah, John Wayne Parr, right?
Yeah, John Wayne Park. What is that dude's name? The dude that he's from I think Croatia. He knocks people out with one kick.
Crow Cop.
Crow Cop. Yeah.
Marco Crow Cop.
I remember him. Yeah, those are all the pioneers back then.
Yeah, it's back then it felt like it was more of an international sport because of Pride, right? Because like it was all based out of Japan, and we got to watch it here. But I guess now it's gotten more global, right? Now you got all these guys from the old Eastern blocks.
Is K1 still around, or is it just one championship now?
I don't think K1's around anymore.
It's not, right? So it's now like
just one.
Now it's one
K1,
FC.
I don't hear as much.
Oh wow.
Yeah, now it's one FC, which is a very different thing. It's a completely separate organization. So like, I think they got their MMA section or category.
Right.
They got their grappling category.
Right.
They got their striking category.
Well, I mean, pretty lately, what's exciting is to watch those one championship. I mean, the CEO now is trying to he's having his butting heads with Dana White.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's calling him out, bro.
Oh, what's he saying?
He was trying to say all the fighters, blah blah blah, or the fighters under his company is the best, and he just kept egging freaking Dana White on the whole time. You should watch it. It's kind of
I'll take
crazy.
a look.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about the full claim, but I will say this though: like what I have seen of one championships, when it comes to their striking, on average those guys are on a different level.
Yeah.
Like the way they're able to knock each other out of nowhere is just unbelievable. How they were able to just throw those powerful strikes with no wind up.
The crazy part is that they have this Filipino group. I forgot what they're called, but they have their own team, which I would think that they would probably do their own Filipino style kickboxing or maybe Muay Thai, but they actually do Sanda.
Sanda, okay, interesting.
Yeah, you have you followed one championship? They're famous
Not closely,
for winning a lot of a lot of them are like champions now, and all of them always rock like the mullet with the tail.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
I feel like that's starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah, and they favor a lot of the spinning back kicks a lot.
Okay.
And they do well when it comes to guys that are grapplers. They would bring them, and they just get themselves back up.
It's a different game now, man.
Yeah,
like
man.
back then, back in like the 90s, they would always say, "Oh, it doesn't matter if you can kick or punch. I just drag you to the ground and choke you out." It's like not the case anymore. Well, it can still happen, but the game has evolved. It's cool to see.
It's crazy. Because I know that you're starting out. You're doing judo now, right?
Yeah.
And when we were watching the matches during on Saturday, and what I noticed is like a lot of the judo when it comes to ground game, right?
Yeah.
You could tell they do train in Brazilian jiu-jitsu or some kind of jiu-jitsu,
Oh yeah. Some of those guys on the American team, you could tell they were really slick, like water on the ground.
Right. And I mean, it figures. I mean, Renzo Gracie was there, but I know you mentioned that you didn't want to really get into jiu-jitsu yet.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like you feel like it has to be a thing now for the training, right?
Yeah, now or since time is limited. Yeah, if time and resources were an issue, I'll be doing it now.
Yeah, because I know you're not like trying to avoid it. And I mean, you eventually wanted to do it, but now you feel like you kind of need it in your judo competition in a way, right?
Yeah, like me personally, definitely for that because judo has Newaza. It's got the ground fighting, which some of the other stand-up artists don't have as much. Like Shrai doesn't have it. As soon as you hit the ground, you get stepped back up, you start again.
Right.
But with the judo ground fighting, yeah, eventually I'm gonna have to focus on that area a lot more. You know,
Right.
because like I feel for me, I've made my way from striking to stand up wrestling and throwing, and I feel like that's probably one of the next steps. You know,
Right. Right.
especially since we're all getting older and
Yeah.
the days of jump spin back kicks. I mean, you can still do it, but you feel it more the next day. It's just like you don't feel as eager to do it.
Yeah.
And with getting in the ring and having a gym war with the gloves, it's
Right.
kind of like that's probably done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably in the rearview mirror. It's like I'm glad I did it. I wouldn't do it again.
I mean, the only time when I throw a Muay Thai round kick is when I'm hopping on a bike, then taking off.
See, it's still functional. It's still practical. It doesn't have to be for fighting all the time.
It's crazy. So
Martial arts is not about fighting. It's a way of life.
right,
Getting on your bike.
right. So speaking of which, since we went to go see the judo competition on Saturday, you actually had your competition the next day.
Yeah, no,
right?
it was cool because I wanted to kind of have an immersion the day
Right.
before, and I figured it was a great way to watch some high level
Get
judo to get it into
motivated.
my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And not just motivated, but it's kind of like just kind of get a more consistent thought process with it.
Right.
And cool to support my teacher
Right,
and
right.
his family there
Right.
also.
So
But-
how does it work? Do you just do one match, or how does it work? Do you,
Well, depending on how many people are in your bracket,
Right.
You may have single elimination,
Mhm.
double elimination, where you can come back and potentially compete for third place or second place,
okay.
or first place, depending on what the number is. So I ended up having 4 matches, went 2-2.
Oh, nice.
So usually these brackets, I've seen it. I've only been to a couple, but so far I've seen it have like just 2 people. I've seen it go up to 8 people. This last one we had 6 people. So, it depends. Judo, even though this is one of the best places in the country for judo,
Yeah.
it's still a relatively small scene. Like I see the same coaches, I see
Right.
a lot of the same athletes at these events.
Mhm.
So you kind of get to know everyone too. It's pretty cool.
Do you feel that that your shuai jiao and your sambo kind of helped?
Yeah, it definitely helps. But it's still different. Like
Yeah.
especially when it comes to Shrai-Jiao, like the jackets are very different. Some
Yeah.
of the rules are different.
Yeah.
Judo, they just encourage a faster pace.
Right.
And the jacket's a lot looser, so a lot of the throws have to be applied a little differently.
Right.
So I'm just trying to like see how they do it in that game. Just really empty the cup, for lack of a
Right.
better term, right?
Right.
And just kind of listen and absorb. And I'm only a yellow belt in judo, so that just means I'm at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun to learn.
Right.
I mean, just having that feeling of throwing and being thrown previously, that does help a lot, just psychologically. Like you're
Right.
not afraid to get in there and really try to like see what works, what doesn't work. If you get thrown, practice.
Yeah.
So what, right? We're all there to learn and enjoy ourselves. Very few of us are really looking at this as a career.
Right. I mean, my opinion, especially for martial artists that's trying to transition to stunts.
Right.
I think people that comes from a background like a judo or shuai or like sambo background that incorporates a lot of throws.
Uh-huh.
Those are good for stunt work because they do a lot of they breaking.
Oh, okay.
Like when they get thrown and they learn how to like basically slap the ground and then, those are the guys will be good for stunts.
Oh, okay.
Because most of the time, if you're doing stunts, the stunt coordinator is not gonna hire you to be like the next Bruce Lee or whatever. They're gonna hire you to fall.
Mm.
So
The stuff that the actor
yeah,
can't do.
yeah,
Or
the
it's
stuff that like
for liability purposes, right?
correct,
Too.
correct.
Yeah.
So if anything, like for stunts, you need dudes that can like, fall and do these backflips and just be able to learn how you get hurt on film and be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Which you guys do. You guys condition yourself. I'm guessing like in warm ups, you guys would like break fall and
Yeah, break fall, dive roll and
right.
practice crawling exercises and,
Right.
and just the the drilling and the sparring,
Right.
you get used to, clashing with another body, you get used
Right.
to getting put on the ground even just in drilling.
Right.
So I think like just that impact training of hitting the ground, getting up, hitting the ground, getting up, on a mat, even on a
Right.
mat is good for conditioning.
Right. So you like judo so far?
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
Love it. Yeah, the group is great and coaches are great. So all the higher belts help us as well.
Right.
So no, it's a lot of fun.
Wow. Wow. So do you see yourself like continuing to go further to see if are you gonna like try to compete in some big event?
I'm trying to get as good as I can.
Right.
So not any specific goals at this point as far as I want to win the
Right.
USA or I want to win some regional event, but just more like seeing where I'm at. These tournaments for me, there's like markers of my progress, and then
Right.
the practice is
Right.
the markers of my progress. So, but these tournaments are good because it helps me know specifically what I need to do to
Right.
get better.
Right.
Like, all right, it's an honest assessment of all right, what am I good at? What am I not good at? What do I do when I get nervous?
Right. So let me ask you this, because I know there's certain people that they can probably they can't multitask, but it feels like you can multitask. In
It
my
hasn't
opinion.
been the easiest though. It has been
because you come from so many different backgrounds, especially now that you also teach Balintawak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you also do judo. Does it translate well, or do you find it difficult to try to like learn a different style when you're already like in tune with one?
I try to put them in their own boxes.
Okay.
Even though that's not the popular thought process in I think a lot of American martial arts culture, I feel like here for the most part we think that blending is better because there's a mixture,
Right.
and it can be, but I think it's not always the case. So I think it's good to blend, but you have to have a foundation in something first.
Right. I mean, you have, we spoke on this before. You have many different type of people in the martial arts world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got practitioners, you got people that love martial arts, and you have people that's just too much into it, like fantasy wise, And
You hear about the guys who dress up as anime characters?
no, I mean, look, I'm not gonna shit on them. I mean, a lot of those guys are cool too, but I'm talking about the dudes that are like I don't know if I can consider them as traditionalists. They're more
Right.
like, whatever they say, they're like so in tune to it, and they're just like they're too much, man. Like you need to relax.
I think that kind of falls under that category because that category of anime dressing up is it's a really big range too.
right. Right.
Some of them just like anime and they might wear like I don't even know if it's Goku or Vegeta. I've actually
Right.
never watched Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
I know it might be shocking to some, but
It's shocking for him. To be honest,
It's okay. It's all right. It's
I'm gonna say this too. I have to agree. I haven't watched Dragon Ball Z.
No.
It may look like I have, but no.
may look like I have.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why someone would jump to that conclusion.
Yeah. I mean,
It's all right,
for
it's
over
all
the
right.
years, I've been faking it. Like I know Goku. I know.
Oh,
You know?
no, they're the obvious
I
ones.
know
Yeah.
Goku, that's
and
it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Vegeta,
Vegeta.
yeah.
I think I know which one Vegeta is. And then there's like that green alien looking guy.
Yeah. What's the
Pic-
green alien one?
Piccolo.
Piccolo.
Originally, that was the first. From what I've learned, he's the first villain that Goku had to face, and then they became friends later on.
You know why I didn't want to watch Dragon Ball Z?
Because people
Is-
kept telling you to.
That, and it's because when I saw when I was like, oh snap, there's a live action movie. Let me watch this, right? And I saw how bad it was. I saw how
No.
bad it was. I was like, you know what? I'm not watching this.
No one talks about evolution anymore. Okay, no one talks about evolution.
Well, I'm bringing it back.
I've only seen one anime from beginning to end, and that was Samurai Champloo.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I
Other-
mean, I did follow Naruto for a while though.
I did for
You
like
know?
15 episodes, but then I
Yeah.
looked ahead, I was like, oh shit, there's hundreds of thousands more. Never mind.
Yeah, it's
Over
Can't
a
take that
thousand.
serious.
Over 1,000. Yeah.
too much. I used to follow this one anime which is called Kenshi something, which is like he's like this kid that joins like this school, which they have a Muay Thai instructor, had a karate guy.
Oh, the greatest disciple or something.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, I saw some of that.
but he only joined it because he likes the girl that lives in that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a funny ass show, man.
Well, from what I recall, that show did have some interesting martial arts principles too.
Yeah,
like you had the combat athlete, the Muay Thai guy who's like all eccentric, all outgoing.
But I think that's kind of racist, though. How the Japanese made that Thai guy a dumbass, man. Everything he said was chai chai, chai chai.
Appa! Yeah.
Was it that?
It was appa.
Appa. Oh my god.
He's like appa. Like that. That is sad though. That's kind of sad.
It's funny though. It's funny. So have you had an experience? Because I know, like, you know, like there's certain people like because sometimes I post up some of my videos, especially my training videos and stuff like that. I always have some people comment, right, and then even though they like yourself, they're a little bit too much. And do you have experiences with like, you know, I would like to say they're fans, but they're also like, you know, into martial arts as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever like been through a situation where they're like just too much?
I wouldn't say I've been in a situation where it's just too much. But it's just kind of like martial arts. I think it attracts a lot of people with different insecurities, right?
Right.
And you know, I think for me too, I was an insecure preteen at the time. You know, it's like I want to learn something that will help me not be afraid, right? Plus, the fact that I've always been into it from watching stuff. So I think if you get someone like that combined with someone who does have a lot of good ability or someone who's charismatic, it can create kind of like a dynamic that might not be the most healthy.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I have seen people fanboy over stuff, fangirl over stuff.
Right.
And or people, and I always felt like, this person might be incredible at his art or her art, but they're still people, right?
Right.
It doesn't mean you should necessarily listen to them on a topic that's not on their art, right? So, and I think also, if you're a good martial artist, especially if you're a good martial artist and a teacher, you're used to people listening to you, right?
Right.
You're used to people dropping everything they're doing and watching you and listening to you when you decide to do a performance or some sort of a discussion of something. So I think because of that, it's easy to carry that attitude into, you know, talking about other things that you might not know what you're talking about.
Right.
So I think because of that, and also just martial arts attracts so many different types of people in it, you know?
Yeah.
Like some of the folks you've met, some of the folks I met. Some folks that we both seen.
Yeah. You know what the crazy thing is too, that I've seen in my life when it comes to certain martial arts instructors, right? So I mean, I'm not gonna name them, but there are ones that's so into it that you can basically guess, you know, like for example, there's this one guy. I think he teaches either wushu or some kind of Shaolin style. He's legit. But it's outrageous when you see that this guy dressed more like an ancient Chinese more than anybody else.
No.
Like, you know how like I don't know if it's the Ming Dynasty, but then you know how they have that hairstyle like people were enforced to have that hairstyle or else.
Oh, the Qing Dynasty. Yeah, the
Is it
Q.
Qing?
The Q where they cut off the hair in the front. Yeah.
So that's what it means to have, right?
Yeah,
so
it's supposed to be a pledge of loyalty to the emperor.
Yeah, he had that, right? And it's like we're not in that.
He wasn't Asian.
He wasn't Asian.
Oh boy.
And he had that. I think he's also a Hangar guy too. Okay. Because he had like the iron rings and then he would practice on it. And even though like you try to look past that and he's really good at it.
Yeah.
But it's just ridiculous, man. You know?
Yeah, the things that I mean, maybe I wonder if maybe for him he kind of has to almost go into that character to fully commit to the art. You know?
I don't know, man. If you just a normal guy and you teach that art, and
Yeah.
I'll learn from you. But I think him
Sure,
doing
yeah.
that is kind of like, nah,
I
man.
mean,
he's
I'm
just-
I'm thinking like maybe for himself, you know,
Right.
like maybe he's trying to fill a
Yeah.
void of some kind, you know.
It's kind of like you ever seen The Last Dragon with Bruce Leroy?
I haven't.
So Bruce, so
I guess I need to.
yeah, you need to watch it because in the movie, right? Actually, Al and I was watching it yesterday, just
Yeah.
like for nostalgia purposes, and Bruce Leroy would dress like a Chinese dude, like he'll wear like the Chinese uniform and the hat.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where he's like in the movie theater eating popcorns with chopsticks. He's using chopsticks.
Yeah. Every Chinese person does that.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, the movie kind of made it even. They made the Asian dudes try to act black too, so it's kind of like a reversal thing. So
Hey,
that's why it's funny.
Let's switch costumes.
Yeah, but like I said, you see guys like that in real life too. You
Well,
know,
they probably got inspired by guys like that, right?
yeah,
Especially at conventions, you'll see a lot of those. Like you would ask them, "Oh, who are you cosplaying?" I was like, "Oh no, this is just what I'm wearing."
yeah.
Oh yeah, I've
like,
definitely
oh,
seen people just
wow.
straight up dress like they were in Naruto, including doing the run,
Yeah, yeah.
which is very inefficient. I gotta
Yeah.
say, you can't run with your arms behind
Yeah.
you like that. Come on, guys. But but it's I don't know. I guess that's
Yeah.
also a phase, right? Because like, wasn't it back in the '80s where it's like everyone wanted to be a ninja? You know,
Yeah,
at
I
least
mean,
some people did.
I was a kid. I mean, of course I did that because I was a kid. I don't know
Yeah.
if that was like
yeah, I did that too. I was 10, so
you know,
especially when the Three Ninjas were coming out.
I was speaking. Well, that was in the 90s, man.
That was in the '90s. Yeah, but that was when I was.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, there's a weeaboo. Have you heard about this? He was on the news. He was carrying a katana sword on the train,
Okay.
and there was like these two.
On the train.
Yeah, you should look it up. There was these two guys, two guys bullying one guy or something like that, and then this weeaboo just walked up to him, pull out his katana sword. Yeah, and
A live katana blade.
a live katana blade, but you
Oh
could,
my
but you
God.
could tell it's a stainless steel katana sword, man.
Whoa.
So he didn't use it. He just scared the guys.
Yeah.
But then the way he was like getting interviewed on the news and how he talks about his sword, it's like he even had he's a white guy. He had a
Right.
Japanese name.
Okay.
He's like I forgot what kind of name he was using, but then he was like, he goes, my katana sword folded, it was like folded 3 times. It was like carbon steel or something like that.
Oh.
And the way he's saying, like, if this guy would come after me, I would slice him this way. And there's another guy. You should watch it.
It was
It's
made
so-
by Hattori Hanzo, right?
It's
It was like
so
one of those.
funny,
Hattori
man.
Hanzo,
And,
yeah.
and right away when I saw it, I was like, I can't believe they let a guy like this slide. I can't believe he didn't get in trouble for that either. But yeah, there's a lot of people that's out there like that, and to me, it's kind of scary because
Yeah.
but for themselves too, because if they fuck with somebody and they don't know anything, they don't know any skills or whatever, and they're just pretending, they're gonna get hurt.
Some people can definitely think that they're the main character in a movie and
Yeah,
think that
that's
movie's
just
real
weird
life.
to me,
That's yeah.
And here's the thing. Here's a kicker. Like 2 years later, I found out he died.
Oh damn. Okay, now I feel bad.
Yeah, I
Oh,
found out he
man.
died, and the story was, I don't know if it's true, but all I know is I'll just leave it at that. Like he drowned or something like that. Cause he was
Poor
like,
guy.
yeah, he was like trying to go to, he was trying to take a boat to this like island to practice his martial arts or whatever, and he died.
Oh man. Oh, poor guy.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of like crazy weird people out there.
Yeah, I mean, and there's just so much like myths and stories behind these arts, right?
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
and even the ones that you would think would be a little more grounded in reality, right? Like, there's a lot of people who want to take, like, for example, Filipino martial arts for the practicality of it.
Right.
Then maybe they're around some, high level people who've gone through a lot of things, and then they start to project that onto themselves, so
Yeah.
it's very easy to get a false sense of what you are when you do that kind of thing for a long
Right.
time. You know,
Right.
so, and that's also why, like, I guess getting back to what we were talking about earlier is like, I wanna be able to have people who are a little more grounded around me. You know,
Yeah.
like being practical minded when it comes to the training aspect, but also just, I want to enjoy being around them. I want to feel like I'm talking to a human.
Right.
Like a human with friends and family and, passions and issues and,
Right. Right. I think
things that they like to do outside of martial arts too.
I think that's everybody. Everybody wants that though. I mean, who wants a weirdo around him, right? I mean, who's gonna want a guy that's But it's kind of like, yeah, you do want that somebody that's gonna relate to what you do, and then you just connect well. That's just how it is, But again, you're always gonna get certain levels of people that's into the martial arts,
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. I hear stories about people who believe that they have some sort of like secret strike. I haven't met those kind of people yet, but I'm sure at some point I will. Or like they'll always have a story about, my instructor was able to do this, or my teacher's teacher was able to do this.
Okay, I got one story.
Oh God.
Okay. I mean, this is in Chinatown.
Okay.
But I will not name who it is. But I'm gonna leave those motherfuckers. I'm gonna leave them to wonder who I'm talking about. Right? But there was an incident with my boy at the time, and he was doing kickboxing.
Okay.
Right. So there was a video that I recorded, and then he was sparring. Just regular sparring, and a certain individual that does kung fu kind of left a message and said like, well, that's nothing, like you guys are slow, this is what you call sparring. And then we replied back like, well, why don't you come and let's come and spar with us. And then he just says, well, it's like all I have to do is hit you a certain way and you go down. And the first thing I did was I just laughed. So he's saying he claims that there's a certain technique in kung fu that he can use, and he'll knock the guy out.
Yeah, I mean, I know people like that. Not that extreme, but they'll say something like, "Oh, I could just roll you off with my bagua." It's like, "Oh, I could just blast through you with my shingi." I'm like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some people out there that could do that.
I know,
but
these weren't them.
This
wasn't the person.
Cause usually those people that can do that, they don't talk.
They're chill.
They don't mention their shit.
No, they're chill. Like they'll dress in like regular clothes, and like when they train, they wear like workout clothes.
Yeah.
You would think that they're just going to work out at the gym or something.
Right.
Which to them is probably what it is.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy though. So, have you learned any particular martial arts that you thought it was kind of like weird? No, like
I mean,
in a way, like not for saying like that particular style that's weird. I'm talking about like an instructor that was like weird.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, not naming names.
Yeah.
But I've met people who would just claim they will claim expertise in too many areas.
Right.
Right. And like if you talk to them, they'll jump around with their topics that they're talking about, and then they're gonna claim, this movement's very deadly, this animal is very deadly, this method of striking is very deadly.
Right.
I can lock you up and break this. No one else trains like the way I train.
Right. And right away that what he's saying is not true.
At the time, I was kind of like, I mean, I wanted to be open-minded at the time.
Right.
But yeah, definitely afterwards, after we left the conversation, I was kind of like, there's no way a human being can know that much about that many different things and be deadly. And like, it's like, well, it's one of those things where kind of like, they do have ability.
Right.
Like, can this person fight? Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But has this person been in fights? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like somewhere along the line they just start picking up different delusions, and people don't check them on it, so it just kind of keeps rolling and rolling and rolling, to the point where they start believing their own hype.
What is then what do you consider as a martial artist? Like, let's just say a guy just learned, like, okay, for example, it's like this. So I know a couple actors.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take a bunch of Groupon martial arts lesson, and they would put it in their resume, and then they'll say they do martial arts.
Okay.
To me, personally, I feel like you're not a martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
You just, to me, a martial artist is when a person dedicated, their life studying the art.
Right.
Right? And not just like learning it for a couple of like months and just be like, hey, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Or not even like even less than that, because I hear it all the time, like from actors that when I used to teach actors, and now when I was, do you have martial arts background? They're like, yeah. Either they say, oh, when I was a kid I did karate, or I have this background and that background. And then when I physically test them, like, to show me, they don't know shit.
I guess
I guess
kind of going off of that, what would constitute as a martial artist to me is if someone, they don't have to be a world class fighter, right?
Of course,
like
they
might be 75 and not have the healthiest hips, right? So, but to me, they should be able to have an understanding of what their art does. They have to be able to show it to me in a way that, lets me know that they understood what they're showing, and they have to be able to teach it or perform it under a certain amount of dynamic conditions.
Okay.
Right, and it doesn't necessarily mean, like, again, it's like, it's not necessarily always like let's glove up and go full contact.
Yeah, it's never my intention to say I'm gonna fight you to see you. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's more like, you kind of have to show me, because some people just learn it for philosophy and learn like the history of it.
Yeah.
And and a lot of them are not really for combat. They just love the art.
Yeah. So they that's the thing. Like, they have to show me, like if I ask them questions about what their lineage is, they should be able to tell me an answer, right?
Right.
If I ask them a question about, okay, how do you progress someone in it from like beginner to medium level or wherever they are, they should be able to say, okay, for the first amount of time I did this, and then after that I started doing this, then after that I started, ramping it up by training with a partner,
Right.
And it's like, hopefully they have a plan in the future. It's like, oh, down the line I'm working on this, I'm trying to explore this aspect. I want to teach more people. I want to compete more. I want to, improve some aspect of my skill,
Right.
So
Right.
I guess that, to me, if I met someone like that, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's a martial artist in their own way,
Right. Right.
And then after that, it's like how accomplished they are. That's secondary, to me. It's great, but that's not gonna be what makes me judge whether someone is a martial artist or not.
Right.
This is separate from what kind of a person they are.
Correct. Would you be able to be blunt if a situation happens where you have to tell them the truth?
If I care about them.
Yeah, I'm like that.
If I care about them. If I don't know them, or if I don't interact with them, yeah, nah, sure.
Right.
You're the deadliest snake fighter in the universe, whatever. Deadliest snake, dragon, tiger, crane, snake,
Oh my god. Yeah.
Bear claw or whatever. But
Right.
Yeah, if I really cared about them, I would say, okay, I understand you have these great ideas or these great thoughts, but maybe let's just go back to doing this, because like I feel like, to me, I have a decent enough foundation where I can tell if someone's not good, so yeah, if I was concerned about their well-being in some way, whether physically or mentally, then I would probably try to check them a little bit. And we both know people who maybe run up on challenges that they're not ready to handle.
Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, it's kind of crazy that I mean, I don't know if they're doing that to show balls, but it's crazy how they they have no skills and they're willing to do it anyways.
Yeah, I guess it has to be a certain level of lack of awareness, right? There's no way that
Illusion,
yeah, delusion. I mean, that's
delusion.
that's
Yeah.
a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah,
So it's that delusion can get you hurt or
right,
worse. Hopefully not worse.
right. Yeah, so I think is it for now, man. I mean, would you like to say something to the
Sounds
people
good.
before we go?
No, I had a good time. Good way. Always a good part of the week. But yeah, until that day comes and goes, check out our seminar at Grandmaster Bobby Tabuada, Elizabeth, New Jersey. Contact me for more details. It's gonna be May 18th. It'll be a fun day.
All right, guys. Bye.
Later on.